So you haven't had a drink today at all? You never drink? Never had a drink in your life? The reason I asked is I smell it. You wearing certain cologne or something?
I mean, I'm wearing Versace. I cooked up like a skirt steak earlier. Could have been seasoning.
Gotcha. This is Utah County. We do things differently down here. So if I wanted to, I could push things.
Anything weird?
What's that?
Done anything weird?
You smelled it on the other guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, conjointly, if he's drinking, this guy's probably the one that purchased it for them. Right?
We've been covering the story of how a single phone call between two drama queen grown men, Josh Johnson and Officer Tonga of the American Fork Police Department,
Sorry, could you spell that for me?
Yeah, bricks and minifigs.
Somehow escalated into a worldwide internet phenomenon that has permeated every layer of content and discussion in our society.
Bring up the brightness of this photo a little bit, and my gosh.
We have, in fact, unfortunately determined that bricks and minifigs can stuff it.
Yeah, you dumb doo-doo heads! Drop your lawsuit against Ben because he's basically Batman.
They need to make things right, and it starts with making him whole and dropping that lawsuit, you actual imbeciles, man. It's crazy.
Everything from lawyers on YouTube.
My big concern here is that this becomes a retaliatory playbook used by bullies who get called out for their wrongdoing.
My first Lego sets were Classic Town, Futuron, Blacktron, and Space Police 1. So don't cite the deep magic to me. I was there when it was written.
They say that they delivered a package containing undisclosed but humiliating items. They're not talking about a package with rubber ducks, are they?
It's not often we get our chambers full, so it's nice to see people.
It's not often we have our chambers full. It is nice to see people.
To stand-up comedy.
It is wild to watch Josh Johnson argue with the police about what the law is on camera. It's just something this Josh Johnson could never do and get away with it. You know what I mean?
And even regular TV news.
The franchisee agreement was not honored. Does that mean you're saying Mr. Mansell was underpaid by the franchisee?
From what we can tell, yes.
See how the news had to push him to even give a clear answer there. He dodged that. He tried a little weasel jerk there. It didn't really work, so they had to call him out to be very clear. No, this person was wronged. You're saying that, right?
What I really care about is telling a cool story and like helping people, you know. And
look at Chris looking down at his talking points. Is he texting somebody? Look, he looks like he's texting in class. Look at him. He ain't paying attention.
In my last video, I explained how that one phone call turned into Reckless Ben and his friend Tyler being illegally detained by the American Fork Police Department that very first day.
I genuinely would just leave it. So, any other questions for me?
Now we're going to use the unredacted body cam footage to show what happened the very next day.
You were talked to yesterday, it sounds like. Yeah.
And it's much, much, much worse.
It's going to scare him a little bit and let him go is all I really was going to do.
Or do we have charges, or are we just tired of them being annoying?
I was going to try to link it to get Ben to say, like, because he said that Ben sent him. Yeah. So if I can get Ben to say, yeah, well, I did tell him to go over there and do that, then I have harassment charges on Ben. I didn't see anything clear as day with Tyler that I noticed. But that's why I asked Colton to check.
Just decided to help out, drive around.
Yeah, we're just buddies, so.
I asked him to check. Maybe he's seen something that I don't see.
Why is the cop just accusing everyone of being drunk?
It sounds like that other guy you were with has been drinking.
Really?
At least that's what, I don't know, I haven't talked to him, but that's what they're thinking.
Yeah.
So is this part of the YouTube content or what? Okay, you get this back on.
Upper body time.
K9 says there's narcotics in your car and that K9 never lies. So we're going to search your car.
You're walking a very dangerous line, which can get you hemmed up a lot of the time.
I re-interviewed Tyler Shaw, who you'll see was the primary victim of the American Fork Police Department's abuse and harassment.
Yeah, we wanted to give this to him yesterday, but
obviously that didn't
work out.
With reckless Ben in the backseat, Tyler was pulled over, detained, interrogated, threatened, and intimidated by an entirely new and worse police officer with that same department.
Unfortunately, you're not free to go now, okay? The canine ordered some things in the vehicle, so the vehicle will be searched, okay?
One who was willing to destroy evidence by muting his microphone multiple times.
I said, is it okay if I record for my safety? And he says, no, I'm recording with my body cam.
Is it okay if I film for my safety?
I'm recording. You'll
be
all right.
Okay.
Come on out.
But when I go back to the body cam, everything is muted, so you can't actually hear him say that on his body cam.
But we were able to actually find some of that audio, and it shows the bizarre truth about this tangled web of stolen Legos, police misconduct, and a cult-like religious conspiracy.
I understand that you're trying to film content, you're trying to make a living, do that type of stuff, but maybe vet these guys a little bit better, because then stuff like this happens, right?
I do understand that, yeah.
Because if we found stuff in the car and nobody took accountability, all of you get the charge.
Yeah. Now I'm kind of scared of the American Fork Police Department, and it used to be like, oh, if I ever need help, that's who I call. And now I feel like if I ever call them, they're not going to be there for me. Is there any way I could get the body cam footage of this situation?
In my line of work as a lawyer, details matter. Interviews, witness statements, meetings, conversations. People often ask me how I'm able to keep track of so much information. The answer is actually pretty simple. This is the Plod Note Pro, and it's my trusted AI meeting secretary. This tiny note taker is the only way that I'm able to keep up with all the work that I do every day. It clips to the back of my phone, it's credit card thin, and with one press, it captures all of the conversations, phone calls, meetings in a way that's private and secure. But it doesn't just record, it takes perfect notes. In my work, details matter. What was said, who said it, how it was said. Memory can be unreliable, but records aren't. Plod transcribes everything accurately and gives me clean summaries with key points, action items, and insights I may have missed. No scrambling through papers, no missed details. It even writes the notes in legal formats like deposition summaries. And later, I can go back and ask it questions. That's not just convenience, that's leverage. It's private and secure, and like anything involving recording, you need to make sure that you're complying with the law where you are. If you care about accuracy, accountability, and protecting yourself, having a reliable record matters. Try it for yourself. They are currently running one of the biggest sales of the year. The link is in the description. Use my code CIVIL17OFF for 17% off. Now let's get back to the video. In my part 1 video, I talked to Reckless Ben himself about everything that had happened. He provided me with all of the documentation that he had, and I started going through it. And since that time, he's now been apparently silenced through a restraining order and can no longer talk.
They sent court papers to my email, which I guess a judge approved for them that this was a valid form of service. And so now that I'm officially served, I cannot even mention this company or I will be in jail and everything.
In fact, I just talked to him today and he really wants to do a follow-up interview and discuss everything that had happened since we last talked. But as for now, it will have to wait due to the pending civil case. More on that later.
Normally I would be like, screw the big guy telling me what to do. I'm going to do what's morally right. But in this situation, if I do that, then all my friends get screwed with this lawsuit and we lose all the GoFundMe money we raised.
In my part 2 video, I started going through the full set of unredacted body cam footage that was accidentally released by the American Fork Police Department. In that video, we saw how all of this began from the very first direct phone call between Josh Johnson and Officer Tonga of the American Fork Police Department.
Is this Joshua?
Yeah, this is me.
To the worldwide internet drama that would subsequently unfold in front of our eyes. As I mentioned, it's important to take all of this in consecutive order. I mean, how do we go from that very first phone call about a kid wearing a fake UPS hat?
He had like a fake UPS hat on. He obviously didn't work for UPS.
2 days later, a SWAT team busting in and arresting these kids at gunpoint and then holding and interrogating them for hours without due process. So to understand what actually happened here, in order to determine whether constitutional rights were actually violated, which is my main interest here, we had to start with the very first interaction, the day 1 phone calls and the conversations between law enforcement and Josh Johnson.
And if they come back, I'm not going to promise promise I'm going to be a good boy.
I would try to just keep it. I would call us.
Followed by that very first traffic stop of Tyler and Ben.
What's up, my man?
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good.
My name's Officer Richardson with American Fork Police. The reason I stopped you is the stop sign. You didn't come to quickly stop at it.
I didn't?
No.
And I laid all of that out in my part 2 video, which I will link in the description below if you have not seen it yet. That then now leads us to what happened the next day, where it gets even more outrageous because the cops escalate the situation well beyond what they had done the day before. Since my first interview with Tyler Shaw cut out in the last video, I interviewed him again about everything that happened that next day. What did you think when you saw this police car following you again?
I pretty much instantly knew that I was going to get pulled over. Whether or not I was following laws or not, I just felt like he's going to find a reason to pull me over. And without breaking any laws, without even knowing why, the cop pulled me over again for the second day in a row.
I believe that the first traffic stop and detention was designed to scare reckless Ben out of Utah, but it didn't work. Although Ben and Tyler were both told that they were trespassed from Josh Johnson's home, they weren't giving up because it's a free country and the American Fork Police Department does not have that authority. Ben learned that Josh and his business partner, Brandon Best, are Mormons. And as Ben mentioned in his video, he had a recorded audio conversation with Josh where Josh swore to God and said he was going to make things right or something like that. So Ben started talking to other Mormons and he played the audio of Josh saying these things.
You're going to get him. I'm not going to screw you. You have my word. That's not who I am.
Uh-huh.
I promise you. I swear to God.
Now, did you guys know the Mormon kid who went up to the door? Did you guys know him before, or was this just some random person that you had met?
Ben met him off of Instagram like 30 minutes before we met at that church. So we'd never met him in person or nothing like that. He just messaged Ben and was like, hey, I want to help with the video. And Ben's like, hey, meet at this church. And we met there. And Ben explained to him like, yeah, a member of the same church that he goes to. Is basically like this crook. He's committed some crimes, but he promised to God that he would give these Legos back. He didn't even tell him that he should do anything. He just explained it. And the kid's like, I want to go up there.
That morning, they end up meeting with this Mormon kid who, by all accounts, is an actual legitimate Mormon kid from Utah, though that will be disputed by Josh, as you'll see, in the parking lot of Josh's church. This kid, by his own accord, is interested in going to Josh's house, knocking on his door and speaking to him about these things, talking to him about God, which, as I discussed in the last video, is a completely normal thing to do within Mormon society, at least from my perspective of having them do that on my door. So the Mormon kid goes to Josh's house to have this conversation with Brother Josh, his fellow Mormon.
After finding exactly what church these guys go to, and I guess me and Tyler are staying back because we're already trespassed. So yeah, we ended up just driving home, but on our way back, this happened.
What? Pulled over again? For what?
Did they ever allege to you that there were any driving violations that you had committed causing the stop?
I didn't know the reason why I got stopped, to be honest. He never told me like a reason.
At no point did they allege to you that you had committed some driving violation?
Not at any point, no.
They get pulled over once again by the American Fork Police Department, very close to the same spot where they got pulled over the day prior. But it's a different officer. This is now Officer Hawkins, an entirely different police officer with the American Fork Police Department. Now, you didn't recognize this particular officer, Officer Hawkins, is that right? Because you had dealt with Officer Tonga and Officer Richardson the day before.
Yeah, for sure.
So was this the first time that you had encountered Officer Hawkins?
Yeah, it was.
Officer Hawkins gets out of his police cruiser and he walks up to Tyler's car, where Tyler is once again the driver and Ben is once again sitting in the rear seat. Hawkins looks into the car and he looks immediately towards Ben in the rear seat and he says, "What's your name? Are you Ben?"
How's it going? I'm Officer Hawkins, American Fork Police Department. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. What's your name? Are you Ben? Okay, go ahead and lower this window for me, would you? What's your last name, Ben? Schneider. Okay. What are we doing, boys?
We're just going for a drive. I actually live in the area.
Okay. I'll ask again, because I wasn't born yesterday. Why are we doing it? Why are we harassing people? Okay. Go ahead and give me your ID. Do you have your ID on you or no? Okay. Alright. So,
do you want to follow us to my house? My house is literally down the street.
Alright. So, well, here's the thing, okay? So you were all involved. You were all involved yesterday. You were trespassed from the residence yesterday, correct?
Yeah, but we weren't on the residence.
I know. You sent someone else.
We didn't send him.
Who sent him then?
I don't know. We did tell we found out what church he lives in. We did say, we told the bishop that one of his church members is committing this like big crime. He's still in to be part of the church. And I think they said they might have sent someone to
Unlike the previous stop, Officer Hawkins doesn't bother making up any traffic violation allegation and instead immediately admits that the stop was all about Josh. Now, before we go any further with the traffic stop, let's go see exactly what actually did happen with this Mormon kid at Josh's house, because that doesn't sound like something a polite Mormon kid would do. Was he there harassing Josh? Was he threatening him or bullying him in some way? We actually have that unredacted body cam footage now, which includes Josh's doorbell camera footage of this alleged harassment by the Mormon kid that Josh showed to the police. So here's what happened. Prior to the traffic stop, the Mormon kid goes to Josh's front door. And instead of answering it and having a conversation with the kid, he calls the cops on the kid because he's allegedly scared for his safety. So before stopping Tyler's car, Officer Hawkins is the first responding officer when Josh calls the cops on the kid who had politely knocked on his front door. So Officer Hawkins responds immediately and confronts this well-dressed, well-mannered kid who was standing on Josh Johnson's front porch.
How's it going, sir? You gonna sit on down here for me perfectly?
Yes, sir.
You got any form of ID on you?
No, on me.
Okay.
Well, I have my phone ID.
What brings you here?
I'm just here trying to talk to Brother Johnson.
Okay.
I'm in the Harvard Second Ward.
What's the relation?
There's just been some like audio going around like there's been an audio going around with the young men group. If you want, I can play it for you.
Can you say that again slowly? There's a what?
There's an audio going around through our young men's group.
Yeah.
Brother Johnson taking advantage of some people.
Like how so?
So, this guy donates his life savings in Legos to Bricks and Minifigs. It's like a resale store.
Okay.
I was just coming to discuss that with them. And then on the Ring doorbell, he said he'd be out in a minute, so I've just been waiting for him.
Okay. What's the audio that you wanted to play?
Yeah, I can show you.
I'll be right in, okay?
Can you check him for cameras and guns?
Okay.
Check him. He's got cameras and maybe a gun.
Okay. I'll be right in there, okay?
Here's the audio.
I'm not gonna screw you. You have my word. That's not who I am. I promise you. I swear to God. I promise you on everything.
Who's that?
So
I guess
that's him.
No, I know that. I could tell that from the voice, but what's that for exactly?
So his name's Ben Schneider. He was just confronting the guy because he had a video clip sent to him from inside the store, Bricks and Minifigs. Basically, they're trying to like shut down the store so they can keep the profit from this investment they made of like the minifigs. I think it's around $200,000. And then Ben called him and he's like, I don't agree with what you're doing. Are you really gonna pursue this? And then that's the clip. He goes, no, I'm not screwing you guys over or whatever. I swear on everything. I swear on God. And obviously he hasn't done anything to, help that in any way.
Okay. Do you have that ID on you?
It's on my phone. Does that work? Like
Sure.
the mobile ID?
Yeah, that's right.
Note that so far during this interaction, there's no evidence yet of this kid harassing Brother Johnson in any way. And then something weird happens. Officer Hawkins, just out of nowhere, claims that he smells alcohol on the kid's breath. And he asks him if he's been drinking.
And what was your plan exactly?
I was just gonna ask him, like, you know, is he willing to give up everything like he said? Because he swore on everything. He swore on God. And if not, I was gonna confront his bishop about it.
Okay. Okay. And then, so have you been drinking at all today?
So,
Because I smell a little bit off your breath. So.
no, I have not drank it. So
At all?
I don't drink, sir.
So what am I smelling then? Okay. All right. You're gonna hang out with this officer then, okay? I'm gonna see what his name is. You said his name is Ben. Or who's this
it's
guy?
Brother Johnson.
Okay. I'm gonna find out what's going on with him. Just hang out with him, okay?
Officer Brown. Nice to meet you.
Can we come inside? That way.
I'm sick. I'm sick. Real sick.
But then another weird thing happens. Josh then refuses to let the officer in, claiming that he's sick and he has a fever. Though yesterday he had told Officer Tonga that he had been getting ready to go and speak at church when the fake UPS delivery kid had showed up at his door. So I wonder, as we lawyers like to ask in a trial, was he lying then or is he lying now? And what's the reason that Josh doesn't want the officer to go inside his house?
Fever? You probably don't want to come in?
Well, I'll ask you guys to step out towards the sidewalk.
Yeah. I don't want to get you sick.
You're good.
I've had the bad,
Oh, no, close it on
bad
you.
chills all day.
Alright, so what's going on?
So, he is a fan of Reckless Ben, this YouTuber that is attacking us. So, we owned a franchise in Oregon.
Okay.
So we took over, so the first franchisee's name was Crystal Law.
You know, these people over here?
That's Brother Johnson.
And what is that?
So I have a YouTuber. He's coming to town. He hit me up. He's like, hey, like this guy in Salt Lake. This guy owns a bunch of value in minifigures, like Legos. He has $200,000 worth of his life savings at this store, and he's trying to shut it down basically just to take that money away from him. And so I was just coming here to ask him about it. I ring the doorbell. He told me I'll be out in a minute. Waited. I haven't been aggressive or anything, and then you guys showed up. Basically, where I'm at from there.
So he's shutting down somebody that you know's business, or some kind of.
So I'm not filled in on the whole story, but basically this guy has 200 grand worth of Lego sets, and he's trying to take advantage of that by shutting down the store instead of paying the guy back for it. And so I was just here to confront him because there's an audio clip going around of him saying I swear on everything, like I'm not trying to do that. And then he hasn't followed his word, and so I just came here to ask him a question or two about it. And he said, yeah, like I'll be out in a second. I didn't answer him.
So they have said they're not going to sue us in court. They're going to let the eye of the public be the determining factor. And so they have attacked us. They went to corporate headquarters today. Provo has a case against them. They went to my partner's house. They went to my sister's house. And if another one of these guys comes up, I'm not going to play nice. This is the end. This is the last time somebody steps foot on my property. I don't care if it's another kid. It ends. You better let him know to not ever come back here any way, shape, or form. Don't have Ben or Reckless Ben come, because I'm ending it. I'm done with them. I'm not playing games. I do not want him here threatening my family and any of this crap.
Did he threaten you?
No, no.
Oh.
But yesterday, they pretended to be a police office, or I mean a post office, and they delivered a fake package.
Do you have that video by chance?
Well, no. This wasn't charged. But they did the same thing to my partner's house yesterday. I'm not playing with these guys anymore. So this kid came yesterday. Sorry.
Oh, no.
So what is this
So I
kid?
can see what that's for us.
What is this kid's involvement? Why does he want to come talk to me?
Well, he said that he was with Ben earlier and asked as a mediator to come talk to you.
Yeah, no. Ben sent him to come harass me. This kid.
Who's this? That's Ben?
No, this kid pretended to deliver this package yesterday. Then he's like, "Here, sign this." He had me sign his phone, so I just went like that. They've frauded agreements in Oregon, so they forged our manager's signature. So I know they're going to take that signature and put it on some fake document.
All I was going to do is just come here and ask him a couple questions. That's all. This might be a crazy ask, but could you take a selfie with me and me for my buddies? Any chance? If not, it's okay.
We can take a picture, yeah, later.
Yeah.
So,
Do you know if it's a real package or
It's not a real package. It has rubber chickens in it. It's got a fake USPS postal thing on it. The American Fork Police said yesterday we got to take it to the post office and they'll prosecute him.
Okay.
The post office will, because it's a federal crime.
Yeah,
not
it is. And then, do you have any video for today that you would like to show me of this guy?
Josh then shows Officer Hawkins the doorbell video
I want his name.
of this kid at the door prior to police arriving.
So, Amazon, and then this kid walks up.
Yeah, no, I am sorry to waste y'all's time, though. He told me he was coming out, and then I saw the cops go up, and I'm like, oh, well, guess he's not coming out to talk to me.
It's trying.
Talk to me real quick. I'm gonna secure things out.
You what?
Are you home right now?
What do you need? What's up, man?
Hey, sorry to
Bro.
bug ya. Is Brother Johnson around?
Yeah, this is C.
Any chance I could speak to you real quick?
About what?
I'm just from the Second Harbor Ward. I just heard some things going around. I was just wondering if I could come talk to you real quick. I'm gonna secure things up.
You what?
Yeah, if he would have told me to leave, I would have left, but he told me he was coming out, so I just waited for him.
What do you need to talk to me about?
I'm just from the Second Harbor Ward. I just had some videos coming around. I was wondering if we could talk about it real quick. Just trying to clear things up for Bishop Roberts.
Bishop Roberts is a bishop of the first ward, and we don't have a second ward. And it would be the Harbor first ward, Harbor second ward. I knew right then he was part of Ben, so that's when I called you guys. And then I was on the phone with dispatch the whole time, and he was opening this door, peeking in the windows, knocking and pounding on the door the whole time till you got here. Ben is probably somewhere right around here. He went to corporate headquarters and got trespassed for the second time from there.
Where's corporate headquarters in American Fork? Oh, it's Emperor.
We can see that the kid is polite and he doesn't appear to be harassing or threatening Josh in any way.
So this is when I was just on with
dispatch.
As Hawkins is watching the doorbell video, Josh then brings Mormonism into the conversation.
Hello? Brother Johnson?
Implying to the officer that he doesn't think that this kid is a real Mormon, like them.
He thinks if he dresses in a white shirt and tie that.
Have you seen him in church before?
No, he doesn't. No. Get his driver's license if he has one. He doesn't live around here.
He also mentions to this cop, like he did the day before to Officer Tonga, that he, Josh, is in fact a real Mormon. And he even takes it a step further, mentioning that he's actually on the High Council.
I'm on my high council, and so I don't know how they
The
found
story
Bishop
on
Roberts' name.
everything.
You know what I mean?
Is there a time that would work better for y'all? Can I swing by another time?
You fish? Yeah?
I do.
So, I went up to Jordanelle the other day, dude. Where do you go?
Mostly Spanish Fork Canyon. I haven't been in a long time.
I'm not trying to be pushy or anything. I'm just trying to get y'all's side of the story, but
yeah. So,
if that's to come down to it, I can just go discuss it with Bishop Roberts.
Go, Tiger. Go, buddy. Bishop Roberts is not my bishop.
I don't know if you can hear me or not, but...
Dude, well, if you're looking to go, I found this crazy spot. We were sitting around Jordanelle for like 3 hours, didn't catch anything. We moved a couple coves over, hiked like 30 minutes through bushes, and as soon as I cast, like 30 seconds in, I get a bite. And I'm like, reeling it in, and my buddy thought I was f***ing with him. Catch that one, and then he casts his and catches one like 2 minutes later. Really
Rainbow
stacked
trout?
spot. Yeah, rainbow.
Up Jordan now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's not too hard to get to
Yeah.
either.
Very nice.
But yeah, I've never caught a fish that fast in my life. Pretty sweet.
He doesn't try to open that window.
I couldn't tell. He opened this one. I don't know what he was doing. I was on with dispatch, just watching him on the thing. I thought he was trying to open the door. It looked like it. I thought
No, I opened the screen door to knock.
He's there for at least 10 minutes then before I show up.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, he was there a long time.
624.
You can't see the red door on the camera, but you can see him opening this one.
If you want to skim through it and see if that's a thing that you could find, and I'll take a photo of it, I'm going to just go talk to him, so just chill out, okay?
Yeah.
Hawkins then goes back over to the kid and he says, "You were standing on this guy's porch for 10 minutes after he said he didn't want to talk to you." But the kid seems surprised, saying that he never heard Josh say that, which I don't believe he did.
Alright, boss. So you're there for about 10 minutes on ring camera, kind of asking for him and all that kind of stuff after he's saying he doesn't want to answer you and stuff like that.
Is that what he said?
Yeah.
Honestly, I couldn't hear with the audio coming out. I thought he said he was coming.
Okay. So he has asked you to be trespassed. So I'm going to check your file, check your ID and make sure it's valid and all that stuff. Then we'll go from there.
In reality, what Officer Hawkins observed on the doorbell video was this kid being polite and saying, "Sorry to bug you, is Brother Johnson around?"
Hey, sorry to bug ya. Is Brother Johnson around?
To which Josh says, "Yeah, this is he."
Yeah, this is he.
The kid then says, "Any chance I could speak with you real quick?" That's pretty scary, right?
Any chance I could speak to you real quick?
He's just waiting. It doesn't show him trying to open the door and doing anything threatening or harassing. He then says to the doorbell camera, "Would it be better for y'all if I came back at another time?"
Is there a time that would work better for y'all? Can I swing by another time?
I'm not trying to be pushy or anything. I'm just trying to get y'all's side of the story. If it comes down to it, I can go discuss it with Bishop Roberts.
I'm not trying to be pushy or anything. I'm just trying to get y'all's side of the story, but if that's to come down to it, I can just go discuss it with Bishop Roberts.
I don't know if you can hear me or not.
I don't know if you can hear me or not, but...
So it does not show him being asked or being told to leave by Josh. It doesn't show Josh saying that he doesn't want to talk to the kid, like the cop accused. Then after watching the video with Officer Hawkins, realizing that it did not show him trying to open the door, Josh says, "I thought he was trying to open the door. It looked like it," which it didn't. Officer Hawkins then goes back to talk to the kid, saying that Josh has asked for him to be trespassed, and then the cop starts basically probing this kid on his Mormon credentials, sort of issuing some veiled threats, basically telling the kid that he's not welcome there in that area.
So what ward are you from?
Technically, I'm from the Crystal Heights First Ward. It's in Salt Lake.
You're asking questions about a whole other ward from a whole different city, from a whole different individual, about a whole different bishop.
Well, Because he said he swore on God and he swore on everything he has that he wasn't trying to take advantage of this person, I said, okay, that's fine. I just wanted to clear it up with you, just so I don't have to go to Bishop Providence.
So where's Ben at?
He's at a church somewhere around here.
Just waiting for you.
Yeah.
Officer Hawkins then, after questioning the kid on his Mormon credentials, begins once again accusing this kid of smelling like alcohol, which the kid denies.
You said you haven't had a drink today at all? You never drink? Never had a drink in your life? The reason I asked is I smell it. You wearing certain cologne or something?
I mean, I'm wearing Versace. I cooked up like a skirt steak earlier. Could have been seasoning.
Gotcha. Would you blow into a PBT to make sure there's nothing in your system then? No? Okay. Okay. I have a hard time believing you, dude. To be honest with you. So who's second Harbor Ward?
It's one of them.
That you think?
Probably well, I just know he's in first Harbor Ward.
Okay. Alright, stand by with him. I'll be back.
This is something that we see over and over again during these interactions with the American Fork Police Department.
Make sure you stay off your phone.
These Mormon cops have this apparent obsession with accusing everyone of being on alcohol or drugs, as if it's some sort of Mormon litmus test. Note that this kid has not been driving. He's not seen to be acting intoxicated or he's stumbling around. It just appears to be harassment, sort of a Mormon-style virtue signaling harassment. And it's wild that it's being done by a police officer under color of law. When the cops encountered him, I don't know if you saw this on the body cam, but when the cops go up and start talking to him at Josh's front door, they start to accuse him of smelling like alcohol and accuse him of having been drinking. Now, you said that you guys you just met him 30 minutes before and you were actually at a church. Were you guys all drinking?
None of us were drinking. Yeah.
Did you ever smell alcohol on the Mormon kid?
I did not, no.
Did you see any indication that he was intoxicated or anything like that?
Not that I'm aware of. I don't think so.
He wants you to stay off your phone. Probably should stay off. I'm not the case officer, so.
By the way, just to make sure, trespass isn't a charge, right? Only if I come back after the trespass.
Depends if he was asking you to leave and you were refusing to leave, but it can also be you've been trespassed.
I mean, I sat there and knocked for 5 minutes. Yeah. He said something on the ring. He didn't seem aggressive. I thought he said he was coming. Maybe he said he wasn't coming, but
yeah, I mean that'll be what this officer determines that what he feels is what actually happened or went down. So
yeah.
Whose car is that?
No idea.
They're gonna leave. I started taking pictures of them. Is that you?
What's your friend's last name? Ben
Schneider.
Ben Schneider. Okay. So he sent you today, correct? Asked you to be a third-party liaison with him. So he was trespassed from this residence yesterday. He was using you, third party, to console. That's ending you up in the same trouble that he's in.
I was unaware. I didn't know he was trespassed.
Probably not best to be a tool for someone else.
Yeah, no, I get it. I really didn't know where I was.
Go ahead, continue.
I really didn't know what I was getting into. He's a YouTuber, I've been following for a while. Slid up on Instagram, said, hey, I'm coming to Salt Lake. I just slid up, I said, I'm a local. And he was like, cool, are you free the week of March 9th? And he texted me earlier, and I just came down here.
Well, this isn't Salt Lake County, this is Utah County. We do things differently down here. So if I wanted to, I could push things. But I understand you're being used by someone you don't know. He wants you trespass from the property, which means you cannot return.
If you do, you will be arrested for criminal trespassing and booked into the Utah County Jail. Does that make sense? I don't think you want a record.
What's your current address in Salt Lake? Okay. Just so you know, not from here, not from Utah, but I know what alcohol smells like. So, whatever you're playing at, probably best to knock it off. Does that make sense too? Okay. He's hiding in a church, hiding down the street, wherever he's at, go ahead and go find him. But you're not allowed to return to this property. If you do, I will arrest you.
Yes, sir.
You're free to go. Alright, Josh, right?
Yeah.
So, I want you to know I can't really do too much since he's not the party that was trespassed yesterday.
Correct.
But hopefully that kind of rings in a bell for him. He's saying he just slid up on Ben's YouTube, Instagram.
Now he's taking pictures.
Of what?
He's trying to be cool.
Well, he could be cool all you want, but if he comes back, he's going to jail. So, I don't take it personal.
No, it's not
just
personal. I understand.
Rub it off,
yeah.
right?
But yeah,
I get your frustration. There's just certain things.
I know
that
he wasn't here yesterday. They didn't catch him yesterday.
I checked it. I tried going deep in that.
Where's he from?
Salt Lake.
He's from Salt Lake.
Hawkins then gives the kids private information to Josh, and he says if he comes back, I'll come and arrest him. But Josh complains that they'll just send more kids, and he's pushing Officer Hawkins to arrest him anyways, just to send a message.
So, like I said, he'll be flagged on his record, so if he does return, just give us a call. I'm here all night, so if he comes back tonight, let me know. I'll come pick him up. I got no problem with it.
They'll have like an endless amount of kids.
I will look more into it with my supervisor and see if I missed something, but I highly doubt it. But I'll ask if they're... I can't see... They're kids, but they're not kids. They're all 21. They're all over 18, so they're adults. So if they want to mess around, they can mess around and go to jail then. So,
yeah.
Does that kind of...
Yeah.
At least resolve it a little bit?
No, but because they're going to have another kid up here. I'll just call you guys.
Yeah, just call us.
Yeah.
Each time they come up, just call us. It's fine. It's no hassle to us,
You
alright?
should go trespass those people too.
Hawkins tells Josh that he doesn't think they've done anything illegal yet because nobody who had been trespassed has returned.
Go trespass that car. That's loaded full of kids.
Well, they're not on your property.
I don't care.
How do you know it's loaded with kids?
That's how it was yesterday. They had 2 or 3 cars out here. They got the...
They brought you in your car?
Got 2 cars. So, where's Ben?
No, I'm just watching him.
Who's in that car?
I'll check it, but for now, just hang out.
Just get their info. Just put it, do you have a different case number than yesterday?
No, this car across the street from us with the jazz plate in front of the Pride Flag House, he says it's loaded full of kids, so if you want to just check it for me.
It's 48EC7.
Well, he'll check it.
Give a case number for this.
I'm going to have this officer make contact with that car, and then I'm going to just check on him.
Okay.
Alright? Have a good day.
Yeah, you too. Do the best.
Thanks.
Hey, Osprod, you have nothing to do with the guy over here.
Yeah, they're watching it.
Okay, and that's totally fine. You don't know him though?
No.
Okay, you don't know the guy that lives at this house?
No, not at all.
Okay, because I mean, if you guys do, I don't care or not. So, no affiliation to this Mr. Ben guy, YouTuber. Okay, sounds good. You guys have a good one.
So Officer Hawkins then leaves Josh's house and he searches for Tyler's car.
Alright, I'm gonna take this Elantra. It's the guy from yesterday.
It's important to note that just prior to pulling them over, he had just finished telling Josh Johnson that there was nothing that he could do because they weren't doing anything illegal because nobody who had been trespassed had returned onto Josh's property. So what then is the legal basis for this detention of Tyler and Ben at this traffic stop.
How's it going? I'm Officer Hawkins, American Fork Police Department. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. What's your name? Are you Ben? Okay.
We'll come back to that. So Hawkins tells them to roll both of the windows down, and we'll come back to that also, by the way.
Go ahead and lower this window for me, would you? What's your last name, Ben? Schneider. Okay. What are we doing, boys?
We're just going for a drive. I actually live in the area.
Okay. I'll ask again, because I wasn't born yesterday. Why are we doing it? Why are we harassing people? Okay. Go ahead and give me your ID. Do you have your ID on you or no? Okay. All right. So.
Do you want to follow us to my house? My house is literally down the street to my right.
So, well, here's the thing, okay? So you were all involved. You were all involved yesterday. You were trespassed from the residence yesterday, correct?
Yeah, but we weren't on the residence or nothing.
I know. You sent someone else.
We didn't send him.
Who sent him then?
I don't know. We did tell we found out what church he lives in. We did say, we told the bishop that one of his church members is committing this big crime. He's still to be part of the church. And I think they said they might have sent someone to talk to him.
Yeah, well, can you could have come back down inside that cul-de-sac area?
These are the other two that were trespassed yesterday, though. Why don't you call him, tell him to come over to the car, because he's not.
We don't have his number.
How did he call you guys then?
He didn't call us.
Really, guys? We're gonna play stupid? I know he called you guys. I watched him try to get in your car.
I don't have his number at all.
Okay.
But is there a crime for a church member to go up and ask him?
Well, he's saying you sent him. So it's not a church member going up and asking.
They seem like they wanted to.
32, go ahead.
They seem like they wanted to
Go for it. 16's pulling up to me now. Okay, listen. Okay, if we want to play stupid, we can play stupid. I'm not. Okay, so I'm gonna be straight up with you guys. He was at somebody's house, harassing that individual. He got trespassed today. Okay, I watch him try to get in your guys' car, and then he bails. Listen to what I'm saying though. Then he said, Ben is the one that sent me to. Yeah.
we told him that. Hey, some of your church is doing this. So if that considered, maybe he thinks that's a sin of him, but we never told him, hey, we're the ones doing this on us. But we never said, hey, you have to do this. Hey, someone in your church is doing this thing or something.
Do me a favor and roll both those windows down. And you don't have your ID on you?
No, I can get it.
Get it, and then call him and tell him to come over. He doesn't need to keep walking around in circles around the street for no reason. Okay?
His ID's at my house. It's
Whose?
like his.
I already have his technically.
Oh, okay.
So just give me a second.
Over the radio, he calls for another officer to come to the scene, accusing Tyler and Ben of trying to play smart.
If you want to head over, you can. They're trying to play smart. If Ron, you want to talk to the driver and see if he's seen anything.
Did he hear him pick him up?
Yep, I watched him. He tried to get in this car at first, and then turn around and saw me. So they tried to detangle, but I saw it already.
Then Hawkins and some other officer are talking over the radio. They're having a discussion about Tyler and Ben, and then all of a sudden, Officer Hawkins mutes the audio on his body cam so as to conceal the conversation from anyone who would later review this body cam footage. For this reason, most law enforcement agencies have policies on when officers are authorized to mute their body cams.
So does that mean the guy doesn't have a car then?
He says he had his car, but it's at Ben's house because he was hanging out with Ben and Tyler, and Ben asked him to go to this guy to mediate and ask about the minifigs that the previous owner of Bricks and Legos stole from them.
You said a lot of words there. I have no idea what you're talking about.
While there is no single national standard, several widely used model policies follow these similar rules. 1. Officers may mute only for narrowly defined reasons, such as conversations with confidential informants, discussions involving tactical operations, conversations protected by privilege, such as talking with a law enforcement attorney, sensitive medical or privacy situations, sexual assault victim interviews, or administrative discussions between officers that are not evidentiary in nature. Secondly, officers must articulate the reason that they're muting before muting. For example, in nearby Salt Lake City, officers are required to announce on camera the reason that they're muting their audio prior to doing so. This creates a contemporaneous record explaining this destruction of the evidence. Third, muting cannot be used to avoid recording law enforcement activity such as arrests, uses of force, searches, detentions, witness and suspect interviews, or any evidentiary interaction. Officers should resume recording immediately as soon as the exception ends, and then document the duration of the interruption, as well as summarize any law enforcement activity that occurred while the recording was suspended. Lastly, agencies should maintain audit records of muting events. A growing number of policies across the country require documentation whenever an officer mutes their body cam audio. Here, none of that was done. There was no legitimate reason to mute the body cam audio at all. They were just destroying evidence. Evidence that would be crucial for Ben or Tyler to defend themselves in the future should there be any criminal charges. How do we know this? Because fortunately, we were actually able to recover some of the muted audio. Because even though Officer Hawkins muted his camera, the audio in his police cruiser dash cam was still recording. So now we know exactly what was said.
So do we just need them to get on their way then? Or?
So yesterday, these two and another guy, because of a YouTuber named Reckless Ben, is now coming after their business because they took over a business that somebody else had previously bought minifigs from him as part of the business and took over it, didn't pay him or whatever the case may be. Corporate took over the business because it went under. This guy bought it and now is the manager of it, owner of it. The last few days, these people have been showing up, harassing him at his house.
One of the most important things Hawkins said during that conversation was his admission that the reason that he pulled Ben and Tyler over was that he wanted to scare them. In other words, he admits that the entire stop and the detention was illegal because it was performed in the absence of reasonable suspicion or probable cause that they were involved in any sort of suspected criminal violation. Police officers are not justified under the Fourth Amendment in pulling people over and detaining them just because they want to scare or intimidate them. The recovered audio also shows the two officers desperately searching for some crime to charge Ben and Tyler with.
I guess what's the goal of...
Right now,
can't we just have him pick his friend up, and they're probably tired of dealing with the police at this point? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I was gonna scare him a little bit and let him go is all I really was gonna do, but
okay.
Because
How many are in the car?
Huh?
How many are in the car?
2 are in the car.
Oh, okay.
One in the back seat, and then Tyler in the front seat, and wherever freaking this guy's hiding.
Yeah, he never came out of 420 West, so.
Yeah, he pulled into the cul-de-sac, and then this guy turned in, and I came down, and when I peeked around the corner, he was about to get in, and then he turned around, saw me, and then walked away, and then they made a U-turn and came out.
So are they trying to just pick him up and get out of here, or do we have charges, or are we just tired of them being annoying?
I was gonna try to link it to get Ben to say, like, because he said that Ben sent him.
Yeah.
So if I can get Ben to say, yeah, well, I did tell him to go over there and do that, then I have harassment charges on Ben. But also at the same time, I don't care that much. It's more of just the fact that they're trying to be sneaky about it.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping it's kind of like, they're all young. They're all 18, 19, 20-year-olds. Like, they're not super old guys or anything like that.
Mormons are nice people, you know, so it's like, we're like, maybe they can, because a Mormon, like, his community probably thinks it's ethically bad what he did. Maybe if his community will pressure him to do it, he'll feel community pressure and finally do the right thing, is what we're thinking. So we didn't order Christian to go up or anything. He just, like, we just told him about it and he was like, okay. And it was his decision to go up there, so.
Yeah. But he's not from around here either, right?
I don't know where he's from. We just met him literally today.
And then Tyler, the driver, is 23. The main reason was I smelled alcohol on the other guy's breath, so I was hoping he just got in the car. I was hoping for it. But it looks like he asked these
So
people
you
to
guys
go up instead.
are good with these guys being able to drive?
Yeah, I think so. I didn't see anything clear as day with Tyler that I noticed. But that's why I asked Colton to check. I asked him to check. Maybe he's seen something that I don't see.
Yeah, 100%. But you talked him into it, yeah. You told him about it, talked him into it.
We didn't talk him into it. We told him about it, and he's like, "Oh, I would love to go there," but like, we didn't pressure him. We didn't tell him like, "Hey, you should do this" or nothing like that.
You got any codes? Because our current harassment code doesn't. We don't really have a harassment code in Utah.
What did I just read? I read one when I was there.
They feel like they should be charged with harassment, but they lament that the Utah State Code for harassment is apparently extremely difficult to prove, and they just don't have the evidence to charge it.
We do have an harassment code, but it's not good.
So they decide to fall back on Plan B and return to this obsession with alcohol, even though Officer Hawkins already admitted during this recovered conversation that he did not believe that Tyler had been drinking.
You say anything or no? Oh, he's texting me probably.
I don't think his radio works. Anything weird?
What's that?
Got anything weird?
See anything?
He popped gum. I was coming around to talk to him. So his eyes kind of look a little like there's something.
Yeah. I saw it in the other one, so I'm not surprised that they were doing it as a group.
How old are they all?
They're all underage.
Just try to get right in his face.
They're 19 and 23.
See if
He's
he'll
probably
look
the
at
one
your
supplying
finger.
them. Do
Look
what
at my
you do?
finger.
Hey, look at me. Yeah, we could ask him because you smelled it on the other guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, conjointly, if he's drinking, this guy's probably the one that purchased it for them.
Probably all are.
Right.
So Hawkins sends the other officer to go talk to Ben and Tyler and to sniff around and see what he can smell, see if he can smell alcohol. And then he also uses some sort of code word that I believe hints at their plan C in case the alcohol scheme doesn't work out, which is just accusing them of being on drugs. Listen closely and you'll hear Officer Hawkins saying something pretty bizarre and nonsensical at the end of his conversation with this other officer. He says, "At the furry tail."
If
You want to just get in close to him? I mean, without getting in his car, but...
Yeah. The lockout. At the furry tail.
I believe this must be their secret code for his intention to go with drug allegations in the event that the alcohol allegations don't pan out.
I'll talk to the driver again and see if I see something, and then can you just make the passenger find an ID because I can't find it anymore.
It's Ben, right?
Yes.
We're just having a hard time finding your ID. Do you have one
I have
on
a picture
you?
of it.
Yeah.
For cops looking to arrest an innocent sober driver, alcohol allegations are potentially problematic because cops usually have the ability to instantly measure somebody's BAC level via a breathalyzer just right there on the scene. But if a driver blows a 0, that's totally exculpatory, and now they can't arrest them for being under the influence of alcohol. Unless, as we've seen in some of my prior fake DUI arrest videos, they always have the fallback allegation that the person is just on drugs.
I believe you're under the influence of the narcotic. Okay, you said I smelled like alcohol. Yeah, I did.
So then they can just lie and claim that the person failed the field sobriety tests and arrest them anyways, because the innocent victim can't just instantly test their blood alcohol level right there on the scene. It can take 6 months or more for blood test results to come back. I believe that the furry tail code was an indication that in the event Tyler does blow a 0 for alcohol, which he did, they'll just go the drug allegation route and then bring in their drug dog to sniff the car and then claim that the dog smells drugs, whether true or not. That way, they can then search the car and then possibly find something, anything that they can use to charge these kids. At the very least, it will further Officer Hawkins' mission of scaring Ben and Tyler. They later in the body cam footage and in a portion that was muted, we were able to recover the audio from the dash cam, and they're talking about you possibly giving indications that you had been drinking as well. And they're talking about it makes sense because you had been with the Mormon kid. You guys were probably all drinking together. So had you been drinking at all?
That's super funny. I've never taken a sip of alcohol in my entire life. And we had probably talked to that kid for 10 minutes maybe before he even showed up to Josh Johnson's house. So we didn't even have enough time to crack open a beer or nothing. Like I've never even sipped alcohol in my life. So that's super funny that they would say that.
Initially, the officer walks up to the car, Hawkins, and then he leaves and he goes back to his cruiser, right? And was it when he came back that he started accusing you of being on drugs?
Yeah, he came back to the car, pulled me out of the car, read me my Miranda rights, and I still didn't even know why I was getting my Miranda rights read to me. I didn't even know that reasoning until after I asked, okay, what happens if I talk? And then he's like, you're on drugs. This is why I'm reading you your Miranda rights. But all of that is muted on the body cam, so you can't even hear any of it.
You haven't seen anywhere in the body cam footage, even the unredacted, where you can actually hear this because Hawkins muted his body cam.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you guys have any footage of this? Like, were you still recording at this point?
Yeah, my GoPro was left on in my car, and I have footage of him saying, you can't record because I'm recording on my body cam.
Is it okay if I film for my safety?
I'm recording. You'll
Yeah.
be all right.
Okay.
Come on out.
So he pulls you out of the car. He reads you your Miranda rights. What happens next?
He then tells me I'm on drugs, and then I'm like, oh, I'm willing to talk then. I've never done drugs in my life. He's like, really, you haven't done drugs? Because I can see it in your eyes, and he shines a flashlight in my eyes. He's like, let's do some tests. And so then I have to follow his finger with my eyes. He made me walk in a straight line. He made me balance on one foot. I blew zeros in a breathalyzer. I passed everything, I think, with flying colors. It was a pretty easy test. And he still said that, yeah, you're still suspicious. I still think there's drugs. So we're going to send a canine unit to sniff out your car. And then right after that, a canine came and sniffed my car.
One of the worst things about this entire situation is that during this entire time period, Officer Hawkins' body cam was still muted. And since he was out of his cruiser during this period, this important audio was actually completely lost forever, destroyed by Officer Hawkins. Even though Hawkins told Tyler, which was captured on Tyler's camera that he provided to me, that he was recording on his body cam.
I'm recording. You'll be all right.
Okay.
Come on out.
But he wasn't. That was a lie. So Officer Hawkins originally muted his body cam at 1927.
The guy doesn't have a car then?
And then he finally unmutes it at 2014.
Back and then he jumped on that passenger side.
About 50 minutes later, after all of the most important law enforcement activities had already occurred, including his conversation with Tyler that allegedly led him to believe Tyler had been drinking and also on drugs, as well as the entirety Of all of the field sobriety tests, all that evidence was lost forever, destroyed by the choice of Officer Hawkins.
Okay. She's like, corporation took over the whole store, we're taking over everything.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You might be Ben, right?
Yes. You're not from here, correct? I'm from Los Angeles.
Just for your information, I'm Officer Cotton, I'm a K-9 officer. Officer Hawkins had asked that I run my dog run interview. You can do an open air, open sniff, right?
Yeah. Sounds good.
After Tyler performed the field sobriety tests, they brought their drug dog in to sniff around the car. Note that the stop was initiated at around 1918, and the drug dog was brought in to sniff around the car at 1950, over 30 minutes after the detention began. Even before they started with the drug dog, Tyler had finished the field sobriety tests, and they have him just there sitting on the curb, waiting for nothing. A common Fourth Amendment violation that cops commit with drug dog sniffs is when they end up extending the stop time to bring the dog in and sniff the car. A police stop exceeding the amount of time necessary to handle the matter for which the stop was effectuated violates the Fourth Amendment. They can bring in the dog or ask unrelated questions so long as no time is added to the stop. Here, this would be a clear Rodriguez violation, assuming the detention has been thus far legal, but it wasn't. We really don't even know of any legitimate purpose that was supposed to be effectuated by this stop. There was no alleged traffic violation. There was no alleged crime involving Tyler or Ben. The only reason given for this stop was to scare and intimidate them, which is already illegal, so you can't really illegally extend an already illegal stop. But if you could, then they did it. What did you think about the dog? They said that the dog gave a signal. Did you see that?
I was looking at the dog the entire time, and I didn't see a signal, but obviously I'm not trained or nothing like that to see if dog signals or not. But I didn't see anything. And if the dog did sniff anything, it would have been Tylenol, because that's like the only thing there was in my car.
What was going through your mind when they're searching the car?
I was pretty calm, actually. I was still scared because, like, obviously I'm being accused of something I've never done in my life. I'm interacting with cops. I'm not used to interacting with cops, so I was still pretty scared, but also I was, like, pretty calm because I've never done what I've been accused of doing.
We now know 100% that there were no drugs in the car because none were found even after a very thorough search. But for some mystery reason, this dog allegedly alerted to drugs in the car. Either the dog was wrong or the dog never actually alerted to drugs. Either way, the American Fork Police Department used this scam to claim that they had probable cause to search Tyler's car. Cops can search the interior of a vehicle during a traffic stop without a warrant if they develop probable cause for a search, which requires objective facts that would lead a reasonable officer to believe evidence of a crime is present. Here, they claim to be searching for drugs. The plan to develop that probable cause is by using a dog who will allegedly smell narcotics, which can then be used as probable cause to search.
Yes? Yep.
Action, huh?
I mean, if you want to call this action, I guess.
Is it slow? Is this like nothing compared to other things I've been through? Or, yeah? Well, that's good.
Run-of-the-mill stuff, you know.
Yeah.
It's 6, so we're busy till, I don't know, midnight, and then it slows down.
How long have you been a cop?
Oh, a couple of years.
A couple years? That's sweet. It's the American Fork Police Department then that you work for?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This police department's really good. I like American Fork. So.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
You live around here?
Yeah, I live here in American Fork.
I'm going to have you wait right here with Officer Meekin. Okay. I'm not going to be talking about anything else, but I'm going to put this away. This officer is going to conduct the search of your person because the K9 emergency legal substances in the vehicle. Okay. Really? So he's going to do that. I'm going to put this away, and then we'll be right. Don't reach in your pockets for me. Okay.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Check this.
Yep. He'll check you.
Anything on here I need to know about? It's gonna poke stick me.
Just your phone. Fortunately, you're not free to go now. Okay. The canine alerts, some things in the vehicle, so the vehicle will be searched. Okay. I'm gonna have you stick by with my sergeant. If you have any questions, you can ask us, but just stay what you're doing, being cooperative, okay?
Sounds good.
Thank you.
That's crazy. If there is something in there, it's like Tylenol.
Tylenol?
That's
Alright.
about all there is in there.
Go ahead and take a seat, and then we'll do that real quick.
And hockey gear, that's pretty stinky.
Ah, yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah.
You want me to do it?
You take pictures? Okay. So I thought you were checking my.
No, you're good. You're good.
Why is the cop just accusing everyone of being drunk?
It sounds like that other guy you were with has been drinking.
Really?
At least that's what, I don't know, I haven't talked to him, but that's what they're thinking.
Yeah.
Okay, you get your clothes back on.
Upper body time.
Okay, you're good.
They dug through it at least twice until they were eventually obviously able to find nothing.
Zoom in on that photo. Bring up the brightness of this photo a little bit and... my gosh.
Hey, if they don't find anything, you don't got anything to worry about.
I usually keep my car clean, but like the last 5 days, we've just back and forth everywhere. It's been a mess, dude. So that car is filthy. I feel so bad that they're digging through a nasty, dirty car. It's like some girl spilled hot Cheetos back there like a few days ago. So there's just hot Cheetos sitting on the floor.
It probably won't even be the dirtiest car they see tonight, so I wouldn't worry about it.
Is there any way I could get the body cam footage of this like situation?
You can. You'd have to request it through the records department, though.
Okay. How do I do that? Is there a way?
Yeah, they're open like 8 to 5, Monday to Thursday.
Can I just use like your name and badge number and like time or something and like
Well, it would be the case number for the incident.
That's a hockey bag. It smells like ass, by the way. I'm so sorry.
I was about to ask if you play hockey.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. It stinks like so bad. My wife almost vomits every time she opens that. It's crazy that a dog sniffs something. Also, my parents live down the street, so that's tough too. It's crazy. Even when I know like I didn't do anything, I still like get scared when there's police interaction. So. Even though like I know I'm innocent, I know I didn't do anything. Just the fact that like you guys are standing here in my presence and like checking my car and everything, it's so scary. For some reason, I don't know why. It's like a nerve-wracking thing, you know.
Where it's like when I pass this guy, I'm like, am I speeding? Oh, no.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Make sure you follow every law, right?
Yeah.
That's so
It's like, oh, I didn't use my blinker. He's going to pull me over.
All right, Tyler. When do we get ready to stand up? Appreciate it. I believe stand on this. Hands up for me. Anything lands on the first week. One sit down and then kick off one shoe.
On here, or like, can I go on the grass? I don't want to sit on the grass.
During the search of the car, they also searched both Ben and Tyler, including their shoes, going through absolutely everything.
Just hang out, alright?
It's back, and then he jumped on that passenger side, sniffed it, was in there for a bit, something on the side.
On the passenger side?
On the passenger, yeah, front.
And nothing?
Well, look again.
If you want to go, Sarge. He needs a back at 38. Just keep being cool, Tyler, alright?
I got to run, dude. Best of luck to you. You'll be all right. You as well.
after nothing was found in the car or on their persons, the canine officer then goes over to Tyler and he completely gaslights him. He claims to be doing a post-search interview that is unrelated to the investigation, just to help with his dog training.
Obviously my dog is trained on illegal narcotics and stuff, and this has nothing to do with his case or anything. This is just making sure my dog's doing what he's supposed to type of an interview. But I overheard you say you've had quite a few people in and out of your car.
Just like throughout like the last like 3 or 4 weeks.
3 or 4 weeks.
He then begins to elicit or try to elicit all sorts of potentially incriminating questions, looking for any reason to cause Tyler problems. Similar to the drug sniff issue, police officers can also generally ask completely unrelated fishing expedition type questions during traffic stops. And just like dog sniffs, they can only do that so long as they don't thereby prolong that stop. Note that Tyler did have the right to remain silent, and he could have refused to answer these questions.
But you guys didn't find anything?
As of right now, I haven't found anything. I don't know if...
I was like, if you find anything, it's going to be Tylenol, because I had the flu like a few weeks ago, so I had Tylenol in there, but that's not illegal.
No, nope, nah. My dog's not trained on Tylenol, so...
And as far as like everything else goes, what's happening?
Great question. So Officer Hawkins, he's the case officer. He'll give you all that information. So again, this interview is strictly to see, make sure my dog was doing the right thing. So you're saying that potentially some of them smoke weed. You don't know how.
I have no idea because I don't really know.
Do you know if they had product in your car?
I don't know. For sure, I don't think so.
Remember back at the beginning of the stop where Officer Hawkins ordered Tyler and Ben to roll down all the windows? These cops can't be honest about anything. Everything is a scheme to try to destroy your life in some way. The real reason he did that was so that he could claim he smells alcohol or drugs, whether true or not, in order to later search them and their car. And also so that when they eventually run their furry tail drug dog around the car, they could get the dog to do what he actually ended up doing, which was basically jump in the car's window to smell the interior of the car, thereby reinforcing their alleged probable cause to search the car. In other words, they're basically fabricating the facts out of thin air that they would later use to put in their police report as justification for doing all of these things that they already knew that they wanted to do. And so it wasn't actually just an open-air sniff around the car. They were intending all along for the dog to actually stick its head into the car to smell. I'll just point out that this can itself be a Fourth Amendment violation, depending on the facts, because the dog is physically trespassing into the car's interior to perform a search. One big factor to look at is how the windows actually got down in the first place. If the cops ordered them down, the courts are less likely to be okay with it. If the driver just left them down on his own, then the courts may not blame the cops. Here, the windows were down by order of the cops, intentionally, of course.
Go ahead and lower this window for me, would you? Do me a favor and roll both those windows down.
The other facts that matter are whether the handler cued or facilitated the dog into doing it, or whether the dog did it instinctively. And it looks to me like when the dog was on the roadside of the car's open windows, it really wasn't interested in jumping up in the windows, even though the handler appears to me to be trying to get the dog interested in doing that. But when the dog doesn't, he takes the dog around to the curb side of the car, where because of the elevation increase, it's much easier for the dog to just stick his head into the car because he's so much closer to the window. And the dog does just that. In any event, I'm not a drug dog handler, and if you've watched any of my dog sniff videos, you know that I actually think that this whole thing is a scam anyways. But I'm just pointing out that this could be an issue. Here, though, I'm not sure that it's all that important because this was already an illegal stop that was illegally conducted, illegally extended before the drug dog even got there. It just goes to show the lengths that these cops went through to find something, anything to jam up these kids for Mr. Johnson.
Okay, well, hopefully we get done and get you guys out of here. So.
What's going? So you can't really say anything about Ben?
Ben, I don't. Again, as far as I know, but I haven't talked to the case officer.
Okay, because
things are looking fine on my end. But again, I don't know all the information. Officer Hawkins has talked to you guys a lot.
I just wouldn't want to leave him, you know, because He flew in from LA.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a car. He forgot his license at his house, so he doesn't have a rental car or nothing like that. I've been his ride pretty much.
Gotcha. Well, I'm sure Officer Hawkins will give you all the information and let you know if what's going down. So, I mean, as long as obviously he was trespassed from that house, just that house though. So I mean, there shouldn't be any problems with him getting back in the car and driving around for the weekend. So.
Then, after nothing was found in the searches of their car or their persons, Officer Hawkins is still not done with Tyler. He walks back up to him, finally now with his body cam unmuted, and he once again accuses Tyler of being on drugs.
Like I told you earlier, okay, the reason I'm talking to you is because I noticed some things. Alright? So
4 hours of sleep is basically it.
But like, help me understand. So, your eyes, for example, right?
Right.
There's a constriction, which is dilated, and then
Do you
not.
notice it?
So I haven't been looking at the same thing. I've been looking at
Yeah,
You're good.
I feel
so
like,
I'll show him. Go ahead and look at him.
Oh, look at you?
Yep.
You do see it?
So.
It's crazy. I have no idea, because I've never done any drugs in my life. I'm literally on 4 hours of sleep in the last 2 days. I've been drinking energy drinks.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't do drugs. I don't do alcohol. I've never done any of that in my life.
You're not on Adderall or any type of
No
prescription
Adderall,
medication?
nothing. Yeah, the last medication I took, like that was a pill,
Yeah.
was Tylenol when I had the flu 3 weeks ago. That's the last thing I've taken. Like I'm willing to do any drug tests.
Yeah.
Like I'm very cooperative. I don't understand, what you're seeing in my eyes.
At this point, we've all seen enough to know that Tyler is like the nicest kid these Mormon cops have ever pulled over in this Mormon town. And that's saying something. He could not even be more polite. He couldn't be more cooperative. He couldn't be more obviously sober. But Officer Hawkins doesn't want the truth. He wants something very different. And he claims that he can see what he calls constriction in Tyler's eyes. Even the other officer standing right there next to Tyler knows that it's bullshit, and he doesn't even take an opinion on it.
There's a constriction, which is dilated, and then
Do you
not.
notice it?
So I haven't been looking at the same thing. I've been looking at
Yes.
But Hawkins just wants to ruin this polite young kid's life so badly that he's not going to stop his fishing expedition. And he even asks Tyler if he has an Adderall prescription. And this is one of the most egregious things that Hawkins does. As somebody who has previously had an Adderall prescription, this is total bullshit. Complete cop junk science. If Tyler had an Adderall prescription, he would be even more not under the influence. In fact, he would have like fighter pilot level reflexes and concentration. Yet had Tyler said yes, that would have been used against him and he probably would have been arrested, despite already having passed every test that they threw at him, and despite being 100% sober. Tyler is clearly innocent and he offers to even take any sort of drug test. But Hawkins isn't interested in that. He's not interested in the truth. He's more interested in gaslighting and interrogating Tyler about Ben, because this isn't really a drug investigation at all. It's a fishing expedition, or more accurately, it was just something designed to scare and intimidate them, to chase Ben out of Utah and out of Josh Johnson's life.
So usually in dark light situations, or at least when light is shined on them, they'll constrict to be like a peep.
I understand that. I don't see what you're seeing too, because obviously they're my eyes.
Yeah,
but,
right. You don't expect it, right? But that's what I'm trying to figure out, right?
Yeah.
And you just met him in person.
Him? No, I've known him for like 3 years.
Okay.
The other kid, I met him for like 30 seconds and that was it. Ben had his Instagram. The other kid, I've known him for 30 seconds before all of this went down.
So then, knowing full well that Tyler is sober and that he's obtained zero evidence of Tyler being under the influence of anything, Officer Hawkins still does not release Tyler. He orders him to go stand farther away from him so he can have a conversation with this other officer standing next to him, a conversation that he is about to once again mute, destroying the evidence of what was being said.
I'm gonna have a discussion with this officer. What the man maybe do is just go on that little pot of land right there. It looks like a
Yeah.
Looks like a sea base. Perfect, right there is fine.
Right here?
Yep. So, you didn't find anyone on your side.
Then, after several minutes of muted scheming, they still continue to harass Tyler. But Tyler's response is just to be polite and extremely cooperative. And then Hawkins shifts back to the real plan of this detention, to scare and intimidate. He threatens Tyler that he's walking a very dangerous line.
I'm willing to cooperate with you guys and do anything you want me to, because I'm not hiding anything. I can promise you that. I promise you. I'm not hiding anything. I will cooperate in any way. So.
Well, that's what we want, right?
Yeah.
We want you to cooperate. It makes things easier. I'm pretty sure he already told you where the dog alerted.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that tells me if it's not you guys, then it's probably Chad or Christian, whatever his name is.
Christian wasn't. Yeah. So I've had like 30 people in my car within the last few weeks. It could have been anyone, but I didn't have any substances. If you found any in there, which I doubt it, because I usually try to keep it clean, and people come in and out of my car all the time.
Yeah.
No clue where it could have came from.
Well, like I told you earlier, you're walking a very dangerous line.
Yeah,
to be
I
honest,
understand that. Yeah.
Which can get you hemmed up a lot of the time.
Yeah, and I don't want that.
And I don't blame you, right? Neither would I. If you didn't do anything wrong, I don't want you getting hemmed up for stuff that's wrong, right?
Yeah.
What I would suggest, I'm not going to push tonight's issue.
I appreciate you.
I'm not sure if you're lying to me or not, to be honest.
I'm willing to take any drug test you want. I promise.
But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in there that since you guys returned, they have to document it, okay?
We didn't
so
go
stay
on the
away.
property. Yeah.
I know.
Okay.
It's a little too convenient that he says you guys sent
Because
him.
I live in the
say you
neighborhood.
don't.
I live in the same neighborhood as this guy. I'm driving through it all the time. So if I drive past his house to get to my house, is that incriminating?
Nope. Just if you go on the property.
Okay.
Like I said, that's why you're not being charged and arrested and being booked into jail.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate you.
But I'm just saying you're walking a thin line by being even. Don't give this guy ammunition if he's in the wrong.
I understand that.
Right?
Yeah.
And your buddy already told me that you're the one that showed up yesterday in the UPS gear trying to have him sign something. That right there is a federal crime.
I understand that. Yeah.
He threatens Tyler that if he doesn't leave Josh alone, that he may end up making sure that Tyler gets charged with the alleged federal crime of impersonating a UPS guy.
So if he decides to take a different route with that, you can be liable.
Understood, yeah.
Because it's on Ring doorbell camera. You don't work for UPS.
Yeah.
But you're wearing a UPS hat and you make them sign.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I do understand that, yeah.
That's a federal crime, so we're not going to take action on it. But if he decides to, or the mail office somehow gets rid of it and they report it, it's something coming down the pipe that's going to really jam you up.
Yeah, I apologize.
So don't let him manipulate you to that. Don't let anybody manipulate you. If you're not going to do it on your own, don't fucking do it.
Do you feel like it was not really about them thinking you were on drugs or looking for drugs, but more about them trying to send you a message or intimidate you?
I thought from the start that it was just an intimidation thing, because there's no way they saw drugs in my eyes. Like that's the last thing I would ever do. So I was just so confused. And I pretty much knew, like I was even asking the other officers, like, do you see drugs in my eyes? You know, like there's no way they saw drugs in my eyes. So I'm just thinking it had to have just been an intimidation.
I know you said you've known Ben, but if you were to pop, say, with Christian in the car and he has some stuff on him, then that also goes on you, right?
Understood,
so I understand that you're trying to film content, you're trying to make a living, do that type of stuff, but maybe vet these guys a little bit better, because then stuff like this happens, right?
I do understand that, yeah.
Because if we found stuff in the car and nobody took accountability, all of you get the charge.
Yeah, I get that.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Hawkins also makes this same threat to Ben. This is where he threatens that you could end up in jail in Utah when you're from Cali, threatening that we play differently here.
Cool with Ben?
Yes.
All right. So you did give him your ID and all that already?
I gave him a picture of my ID because my ID's at the house.
Perfect. So I already told him, okay. Luckily, nothing was found in the vehicle. However, because of the situation today, and
because of the things that you've said and what could happen and transpire, you guys technically could be arrested under federal charges for that UPS situation, okay? We're not taking action on that, but if he decides to inform the mail office and go that route, it's gonna be a jam up that you're not gonna want. So even if you're trying to do a stint or trying to joke around or bait, whatever you called it, I don't remember, but dressing up as UPS, going to someone's house. He did. I saw the ring doorbell camera. He's wearing a UPS hat. And you asked him to sign for a package, dog. What is that?
Yeah, but it was just to show him like the irony of why that's bad.
If that's not dressing up, what is that?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you could end up in jail in Utah when you're from Cali. Not worth it, right?
Yeah.
We play differently here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And this reveals the actual bad faith intent of this officer to violate Tyler and Ben's rights, as opposed to performing any actual good faith, legitimate law enforcement investigation. While there are federal crimes for impersonating federal officers or members of the military, for instance, I've found no federal statute criminalizing the impersonation of a UPS guy. However, using that impersonation as a means to commit some other crime, such as fraud, could be a federal crime. In any event, he's only bringing this up because he's trying to scare and intimidate Tyler. And according to Tyler, it worked. We now know from the recovered unredacted body cam footage that Officer Hawkins said that he wanted to scare you.
I was going to scare him a little bit and let him go is all I really was going to do. But
were you scared?
Oh yeah, I was intimidated for sure because I never really interact with police officers. So this being like my first week, full-blown interacting with cops, it's scary. Even if I'm innocent, I still feel intimidated, especially when they're accusing me of something I've never done before, like drugs. It's definitely scary for sure.
So like I told him, we'll let you guys go now, but you're walking a thin line. Just be mindful of that. Does that make sense?
Okay. What do you think might have caused the dog to... Because that's not my car.
He's trained on illegal substances. So Tyler's saying that he had 20-some people in his car the last 3 days because of all you YouTubers that are coming through. So if one of them had dropped, say, cocaine or methamphetamine and we found it today, you both would be arrested for it.
Yeah. I mean, the people we were hanging out with were, like, very good kids from my understanding.
I would suggest being careful.
Yeah.
Everyone's good until you find out what they have.
Yeah.
Because from what I see, Christian never came back. He was dodging me, tried to get in your car, and then when I told you guys to tell him to come back, he never came back. Would that be a good soul? Probably not, right? If he did nothing wrong, why is he coming back?
I don't know.
So just something to think about. Other than that, we're gonna let you guys go. Okay? Thank you.
Has your perception of police changed at all as a result of what's happened to you in this incident?
100%. Yeah. Yeah, for sure it has.
In what way?
I thought they were here to protect, serve the community, but obviously, like, the police out here, it just feels biased. It just feels like I'm getting interrogated because I'm going against somebody that they're on the same side with. I don't know, but it just feels like some of them are on a power trip. They just love power, especially Officer Hawkins, who's just accusing me of being on drugs, even though he knows I'm not on drugs. And now I'm kind of scared of the American Fork Police Department. And it used to be like, oh, if I ever need help, that's who I call. And now I feel like if I ever call them, they're not going to be there for me. So
Gotta be all about protecting yourself too.
Yeah.
Especially with letting random people into your car is crazy to me because you never know what their motive is. Like, even if they say, "Oh yeah, like I watch his stuff online," you don't know how like right they are and what their motive is too.
Yeah.
So just be careful. Like, we don't want to see you don't get hurt or something bad happen to anybody out here, right? So.
Did they give you any sort of warning or citation?
Zero. No.
Did they ever give you any sort of documentation whatsoever?
No. They didn't even give me like a case number. I actually asked them for a case number and they wouldn't give it to me.
It looks like you're good to go, man.
Thank you.
You have a good night, okay?
Have a good night.
So Officer Hawkins finally releases Ben and Tyler with 0 criminal charges, no citation of any type, not even a warning. at around 20:35. Remember, the detention was initiated at 19:18, so that's a detainment of about an hour and 20 minutes. During that time, even though Reckless Ben was the actual target of the American Fork Police Department, Tyler bore the brunt of this harassment. He was removed from his car, forced to take a breathalyzer, which he passed. He was forced to perform field sobriety tests, which he passed. He was interrogated over and over and over again. He was searched, both his person and his car, and the car's contents. And he was subjected to threats and intimidation for almost an hour and a half. For the majority of that period, the investigating officer, Officer Hawkins, muted his body cam, destroying both the evidence of Tyler's innocence as well as evidence of the officer's constitutional violations. While this is not in and of itself a constitutional violation, it is most likely a policy violation, and it's also evidence indicating that this is not an honest, trustworthy police officer who you would trust in your community. And this is only the day after the first illegal stop that happened the day before on March 8th. Which I discussed in the last video.
Is this going on YouTube then?
Yeah.
Shout out YouTube, dude.
All of this was designed to help Josh Johnson by scaring Reckless Ben away from Josh and away from Utah. But even though the American Fork Police Department claims that they do things differently in the state of Utah, and they apparently do with all of the weird Mormon stuff that we hear in this body cam footage, they can't when it comes to federal constitutional rights. Did anything else happen after they let you go on March 9th?
Nothing else happened. Yeah, we just went back to the Airbnb and called it a night.
You know, living in American Fork, have you seen that there was this town hall meeting where some people were speaking up against the police department?
I did see that, yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on that?
I think it's actually awesome that they're standing up for Ben and I and how we were treated. It's really cool, actually. The communities kind of come together and supported me, especially.
Our police department in March went on a crusade against an individual, and he now has legal rights to sue this city. That is going to be our taxpayer dollars that are going to have to pay for that.
When Bricks and Minifigs filed this civil lawsuit against Ben, do you know whether you were included in that?
Oh, yeah. They said Ben, two other people that's names are also on there. I think Brian and Victor. And then they said 15 John Does. So I have no idea if I'm included in it or not, but they said 15 other people. The names haven't been released yet, so we'll see.
You know, I'll put that GoFundMe up and hopefully help get you guys some funds to fight off that civil lawsuit if you have to, and then hopefully file some civil rights lawsuits here.
Heck yeah. Thank you.
Whether you're a resident of California or American Fork, Utah, and whether you're a Mormon or not a Mormon, we are all equally protected under the First and Fourth Amendments of the U.S. Constitution. And as I've discussed in this video as well as the last video, numerous violations have been documented by this body cam footage. For that reason, I've helped to arrange for one of the best civil rights lawyers in the nation to get involved. And I'm not sure yet about Ben because he's in a bit of a different situation, but Tyler as well as Sheldon, who you'll hear from in my upcoming part 4 video, he was the kid who got arrested for locking his phone a couple of days later. And possibly one other person, they are going to have top-notch representation. We are going to get into that in detail in the next part 4 video, and you can follow along by subscribing both here and at the blog at thecivilrightslawyer.com. You can follow me on X and the other socials at JohnBryanESQ. Remember, our rights don't end where your fear begins. Freedom is scary. Deal with it.